What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Hunter podcast. Today we're driving, and I'm with Jamin Davis. As you can see, we are headed to drop Jamin off because he's heading to the airport to head to who knows where next. And we just finished up a 7-day backpack mule deer archery hunt up in the mountains. We did this hunt last year. Jamin was filming it, and I hunted, and I killed a nice buck. And we just finished up this hunt this year. So we're gonna kind of recap everything and just kind of start from the beginning on this hunt. But it was fun, dude.
It was a good time. Yeah, it was a lot different.
It was a lot different this year.
I really had a really good time up there.
We had hot weather this year, which was good. It hardly rained on us at all. Like a couple little sprinkles, but compared to last year, we got pelted on with rain last year.
Yeah, I feel like it rained almost every other day and good storms.
Yeah, but this year it was so hot, and it hardly rained. So, Jamin flew in the day before the opener, and I was up scouting a couple days because I was trying to just find some bucks, and right when Jamin flew in, so the night before the opener, I ended up getting super sick. It was crazy. I was fevering on the mountain, dry heaving, bad. So I bombed down the mountain. My wife went and picked up Jamin, and Jamin hiked in that night. What time did you get in?
Well, so yeah, you weren't feeling too good.
Yeah.
I got delayed 4 times.
True.
I was supposed to get in at 12:30, and we were gonna have plenty of time to hike up there, scout, shoot our bows, be good to go. I didn't land, she didn't pick me up from the airport until I think it was 8:30 or something.
Right.
We didn't get to the mountain until right before 12. I think it was 11:30, 12. And I started hiking at 12:30.
Crazy.
On Saturday morning.
At night,
so
12:30 at night.
It was opener day, and I finally started hiking.
And what time did you get to camp?
Yeah, I got to camp at around 2 and set up and asleep by probably 2:30. So
yeah.
that was that whole day was definitely way different than we envisioned it being. But we got up there.
Yeah. So Jamin's up there. I took a night at home. I felt way better than on the next day. So I hiked in opening afternoon. But we had a buck spotted. I had a buck scouted out that I really wanted to kill that we actually had some history with from last year. We call him Stickers. He's just a great 4-point buck, but he has a cheater off one side. Last year we were thinking he was maybe 160s. This year he probably put on maybe 10, 15 inches, I would say. Not a ton. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's definitely he had more mass this year, I think.
Yeah.
And his little kickers were definitely much bigger.
Yeah, he had, instead of one kicker, he had 2 this year off the same side.
Yeah, and he did have that little tiny one last year, but it was just a little nub. And this year it was a legit full-blown sticker.
Yeah. So he had a couple kickers on him, which was sweet. That's kind of where he got his name, Stickers. So I found him in the exact same basin, almost doing the same things. He had a little bit different habits this year than he did last year, because we almost killed him last year with the habits that he had.
Yeah. If we had swapped places.
Yeah, Jamin could have shot him, but he had the camera instead. So this year it was all right, let's try and kill this buck. But Jamin also has a tag this year, so we also wanted to hunt some other deer too. So we started out opening day. Jamin went up to the glassing knob, found this buck. Late morning, huh? Yeah. You got up a little bit later.
Yeah, I was up at the glassing knob at 7:38.
Yeah. And this buck usually beds around 8, and then he might get up and feed a little bit throughout the morning, but especially he was pretty comfortable during these the first day of the hunt. There's no pressure on him, so he was being pretty chill. So we found him, and then by the time I got up there that afternoon, we had eyes on him. We were watching him in his bed, and there was no one else watching him. So we pretty much had them to ourselves at that point, which wasn't great. And it was crazy. Like, everything was kind of like lining up. It looked like perfect. So I was like, let's just go stalk him opening morning. Like, he's right below us. He was actually like 500 yards from us, but the way the terrain lays out is you have to walk around the basin, and it's like a mile to get over there. So I dropped all the way around and down, and as I was working down, the wind was decent. It's a little swirly, which we found out it's just that basin is really bad for wind. But I was probably at 150, 200 yards from that buck, and I've actually bumped 2 smaller bucks that I had no clue were there. They caught my wind and they ran down. I didn't see it because it was like right over the little hill from me, but they ran down and they picked that big buck up with them. And I guess he wasn't super spooky. He didn't really know what was going on, right?
Yeah, he just, when those other deer came by him, he just saw other deer running, got up and just followed them, and just trotted with them off into the, like, as you get lower, right, it gets a little bit thicker, and all 3 of them just went back into there and kind of disappeared for a while.
Yeah, they just dropped down. And so we kind of lost them. So I came back up to the glassing knob. Well, I don't know if I came all the way to the glassing knob, but actually, no. I was sitting there. I was sitting there after we bumped them, trying to glass them up again down in the bottom, and we see this kid walk straight down the bottom of the canyon, right where this buck went, and he definitely had no clue that these deer were in here. Like, no clue.
No, which is kind of surprising because, like, they just ran right through there.
Yeah.
So if you were looking from the top, you would have seen them come running through.
Yeah, but this kid was like moseying down, like not paying attention, just being loud, rolling rocks. And he was only 200 yards from me, and I just sat there and watched him. And that's what it is, just how it goes. I mean, I kind of like look back and like I was probably that hunter at one point who was just walking through random places thinking that I'm deer hunting and really have no clue what I was doing. So I'm not like mad about it necessarily, because it's happened to me multiple times now. And luckily, it didn't really bump the buck very bad because we found him the next morning.
Yeah.
So
the next morning, though, he was a little bit more timbered up.
He was in kind of some like the brushy area a little bit. So he's a little more brushy area. He's a smart buck. He's a really smart buck, and I learned a lot from this deer. So we didn't really bump him that hard because he didn't really know exactly what happened that night. I wouldn't be surprised though if he knew that kid walked through the bottom. So he probably did, actually. I'm sure he did, because we didn't see him come out the rest that evening. But the next day, we found him straight off the bat. It's hard to recall 7 days in a row. So we'll kind of go through as best we can. But
so we're on Sunday now.
Yeah.
So Sunday morning, spot the buck. He wasn't in a really good spot to stop.
Yeah. So we went. Oh, that's right. So then we went and tried to find some deer for you to stalk, huh?
Yeah. So,
and we did.
Yeah, we worked our way. Not very far away, actually. It was only maybe a mile away.
Yeah.
And it was around like noon. I spotted like a nice, for me it would have been really nice, but it was just like a good buck. It was maybe like 140-inch 4-point. And spotted him. He was way down the hill, but
found a steep spot.
Yeah, dude, that was pretty steep.
Yeah.
So kind of figured out a game plan. We dropped down, and we knew he was with 2 other bucks, a real small young buck, and then another big 2-point. And when we got down there, we were able to get up like on this big cliff and kind of look down on him. It was probably a good thing we were so high above them, because when we found them, they were probably 100. I think it was about 150 yards from where they were bedding, underneath some trees. So if we had come over low, we definitely would have blown them right out, because they would have seen us as soon as we came over the hill.
Yeah. So they're up and feeding right there.
Yeah. And so we watched those 3 bucks, and I went to go get the big camera to put the big lens on them and film them for a sec, and I turned around, got the camera, and came back, and they were gone from where they were. And I look over to where they were bedding, and I just see the butt of a buck walk in, and then 3 bucks follow it, and the 3 that we were watching. So we knew that there was one more in there.
Yeah.
And so we're getting ready to put a stalk together, and I work down the hill and stalk in, and it took me like 4 hours just to get to like maybe 80 yards, I think, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a lot of like, hold up, okay, keep going, like deer are feeding or bedded down or whatever.
Yeah. They got up twice, or was it twice or once? At one point they were up on their feet.
Yeah, once they were, but they were like off, so in a little cut where they couldn't see where Jamin was coming from.
And when they moved there, I was able to move really quick.
Yeah, because they were
awesome.
right out of sight.
Yeah.
And at that point, I actually had eyes on the bigger buck.
Yeah.
That we didn't see before.
Yeah.
And it was like a solid like 160 like gray buck.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh sweet. I was like, hey, there's 4 bucks in here.
Yeah.
We just gotta get a shot off of one of them.
Yeah.
So.
Which we did.
we did.
I did.
Yeah.
And
so you got in close.
Yeah, I got to 50 yards, and I could see 3 of the bucks bedded down, and I just couldn't get any closer.
You're in the wide open.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I was looking at them through the grass of the hill, so if I, went any closer, they would have seen my head come up above the grass. So I sat there for like almost, I think it was around 2 hours, might have been a little bit more. Waiting for them to get up, and that's like the first time I've ever like stalked and hunted an animal like that in a Western style. I've hunted antelope, but it's a little different because antelope move so much. I just sat there for hours, and like my leg felt like a bum leg. It was totally asleep by the time these deer got up, and they finally stand up and they start moving, and I pre-arranged a bunch of spots, but what I probably should have done was stopped the buck, ranged him, and then tried to get a shot. Because I ranged the tree that was right behind the trail that they were using, so I didn't anticipate aiming a little bit lower for him being just a bit closer than the
4
tree.
yards maybe, right? Like 5 yards.
Yeah, and when I shot, I could see he was like silhouetted against the background because it was about 7:30 by then. No, it was after that because the sun had set. So
yeah, I don't remember what time it was.
It was like closer to 8:30. So it was starting to the shadows were getting pretty dark. So I could see him silhouetted against the back hill, but it was just a dark. I could see his antlers in his body, but I couldn't see like fur or anything like really specific. So I rushed my shot just a little bit, and I used my 50-yard pin when I probably should have aimed for like 45, and just sent that arrow just right over his back.
Yeah, into the tree.
Yeah.
Right behind him.
Yeah, just like an inch or 2 above him.
Yeah, so those bucks bumped out pretty good.
Yeah.
And they were gone. Out of that basin around the corner. Out of there. But that was close. And that was only day 2.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy looking back. Like, we almost got stalks every day except for like, I think 1. Yeah. Or 2.
2 days.
Okay,
Yeah,
2 days we did get stalks in. Which is pretty wild. So next day, we went back to the knob, hunted stickers. We found him in a good spot.
That was like probably one of the best spots he was in.
Yeah, it really was. Underneath this big tree off a cliff. So I was like, all right, if I should get at the top of that cliff, I'll either see him or I can try and wait for him to work out a little bit later. So I got in above him. I was probably like only 30 yards from the tree he was bedded under, but I didn't work around enough to see if I could get a shot. I was just like, I'm going to sit up here and wait for him to come out because it was pretty thick down where he was at, which wasn't the right move, but I sat there and my wind started swirling a bunch And for a little while, he did smell me. I was really surprised. I thought he would smell me a lot faster. But I sat there for probably 30, 45 minutes waiting for him. And then eventually he did smell me. And he got up, and you can see on the video, Jamin's videoing it from afar, I had no clue that the buck had gotten up, but he jumped up, he could smell me, and he started taking off, and he came right through my shooting lane, and I had ranged a bunch of stuff in my shooting lane, but he was just like, he was probably like 70, 80 yards trotting away, didn't even look back to look, so I didn't get any shot. I had my bow pulled back right on him, but it was like, I was no way. I would have been guessing yardages at that point, and so it wouldn't have worked anyways. So he dipped right into the timber, but still the same basin. He didn't leave the basin. And that day, I kind of waited for him to see maybe if he would come out that evening, but he wasn't even close. He never showed himself at all. So I just came back, and as I was hiking back that night in the dark, I saw a headlamp coming down that same basin. So some other guy, I wish we later found out who he was, a different guy than the first day, was coming down that basin and hunting that spot. But he had no clue that buck was in there. We talked to this kid a couple days later, and he had no idea that this buck even was there.
Yeah. Which
is kind of crazy. Because he walked through this basin multiple days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, next day, we decided to give him a break, I think.
Yeah. Was that, so we're on Tuesday now.
Yeah.
What did we do Tuesday? Tuesday was not the day.
We went up top.
Was it?
I don't remember.
I think that was that Tuesday? Yeah, because Thursday we hiked around the backside. Yeah, so Tuesday we went up over the hill to a different basin.
different basin, just trying to find some new country to hunt bucks for Jamin.
Yeah.
I figured that our big buck would still be there, but we never did get eyes on him that day on Tuesday. But I didn't think that he left very far, because he'd been bumped twice and he was still in the bit, and he stayed in there. So we went up and we found some bucks just like right off the bat. A huge group of deer,
quick.
like 15 deer probably.
Yeah, and I mean there was like 5 or 6 bucks in there that were like all. I would have shot all of them.
Well, a couple of them were the same bucks you stalked.
Yep.
That first time when he missed that buck, a couple of them had gone over the hill, and we found him again.
Yeah.
And there was more deer than just them.
Yeah.
So those bucks move through those country like nothing. They go all over the place.
Yeah. Especially
those young bucks. So we found him. Let's go for it.
Yeah, found him. That hunt or that stalk, it was a bit of a Hail Mary. It definitely could have been done much better than the way I did it. I was kind of going back and forth about stalking them right then and like trying to get an opportunity that day or potentially waiting. And looking back, I probably should have waited, because that area, it was very similar terrain-wise in that basin to what it's like hunting back home, and you have no control over the wind in an area like that, where it's pretty flat for the most part. It's all relatively the same elevation within like 400 to 500 feet, but there's so many little hills and valleys and so many different features that it pushes the wind everywhere. So you have no consistent way of keeping your wind away from the deer.
Yeah.
So, and where these deer were bedded, they could probably see where I came across the ridge to get around to the other side. So they could probably see me as I worked my way around. And when I worked my way down and into the basin, they couldn't see me then, but they were looking. Every time I'd peek up, from behind a tree or through some brush or something and glass them up, they would be looking in the direction that I had come from, almost the entire time. So that should have tipped me off like almost immediately that, hey, this isn't going to work. These deer already are on a bit of a alert. And I was thinking about it when I'm down there, but I'm like, I just got to give it a shot at this point. Like, I'm already down here. And as I worked my way around the edge of this basin to try and get to a better spot to be able to put a stock on them, there was a small 2-point that was bedded, and I glassed him up from like 120 yards away. And I was like, I knew that's where I had to go to get to these bucks. And I had kind of two options, which was try and bump the buck off and hope he goes a different direction than these deer, or I could try and sneak by him. And knowing myself, I knew it was going to take me way too long to sneak by him to even make it worth it, because the little hill, it was maybe like, I'd be within like 80 yards of this deer like the entire time, and he was going to see me. So I just let him see me at about 100 yards, and I just kind of worked my way in and out of view of him, and just hoping he would get up and just kind of walk off. I was far enough that I wouldn't spook him super bad. But he didn't leave. I got to like 60 yards of him, and he just was there, just hanging out. And by the time he finally moved off, I probably could have shot him. And he went directly to those bucks, and just when my wind,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just when he took off or maybe my wind switched or whatever, but
They took
all
off.
those bucks were gone.
They took off hard too. They busted country with so fast.
Yeah.
As soon as they figured stuff out. So yeah, that was a bummer. So that was Tuesday. So we ran down to camp and glassed that evening for stickers.
Mm-hmm.
But by that time it was like afternoon anyways.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a ton of day left to make any other plays. But we didn't find anything that night. I don't think we saw very many deer. We definitely didn't see the big buck. We kind of found out that after opening day, after that buck started getting bumped a little bit, at night he would never come out. Like we never saw him at night once. But we'd always find him in the morning for a second before the sun came up, and then as soon as the sun would come up, he would, and the thermals would switch, he would move super fast into a bed, pretty much stay there all day.
Yeah. Yeah, and he'd go right into the timber.
Right into the timber, or like thick brush, just like loud brush, timber type of stuff. So Wednesday morning, we glassed from the knob for stickers, right?
Yeah. And spotted him. He bedded down in a good spot.
Was this the one behind the rock?
This was, that third and final stock.
Okay. Yeah. So we spotted him. He was pretty weary. It was kind of cloudy and rainy that day. Like, not rainy, but a little bit. Like, there was like just small little storms that rolled in every once in a while, and they were kind of coming in all morning. And I was kind of thinking, like, since it was so cloudy, he didn't bed like in the shade. He didn't need to, because it was shady everywhere. So he bedded right in this open spot on the other side of a huge boulder that I could climb up on and get a shot off the top, and it would have been like 20 yards. It would have been super close. He was bedded away from the rock, so the only thing I was worried about was the wind at that point, which I should have known looking back. Like, of course he bedded away from the rock because he knew his wind was coming from behind him. Which the wind wasn't coming super hard from behind him. It was actually pretty like back and forth, swirly up and down the hill, and I was coming in from across from him, but every once in a while you'd get a gust that would blow towards him. And I got pretty close. I stalked in and got within probably 30 yards, but I couldn't see him yet because there was a huge boulder in the way. And we have it on video again, and he smelled me and took off before I could really get close enough for a shot. But I felt pretty good about it. I was pretty confident that I was going to kill that deer, but I just couldn't get in range of him.
Yeah, that was really close.
It was really close. If he didn't win me, we would have had him. Like, for sure. Which, but I mean, the wind is it's the biggest factor on stuff like this. Is the wind? It's literally pretty much the thing that blew all of our stocks except for like 2.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was pretty clear that the stickers was just going to get harder and harder to find every day. So
on that last stalk, there was something like I learned in particular on that hunt because when it was stormy. Every time that there was a cloud formation that would come at the mouth of that little basin, like valley, the wind would switch and it would blow really hard back up, and it was a good wind. And it was just kind of like interesting, like how when it's stormy out, how you can use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
If you can time it right. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
I didn't notice that in the bottom of the canyon.
Okay.
But it could have been the case slightly.
Yeah, I could feel it up top. Every time we'd have one of those rain clouds come through,
it would blow.
Switch and it would blow really hard coming down from the north.
Interesting.
And then when the clouds would be gone, it would go back to its kind of shifty.
Yeah, wild. So, almost had him. Next day, I think we did go glass for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or no, was that the day we moved camp?
Yeah, but we went and glassed in the morning.
Went and glassed in the morning.
And then we did that same thing, went into the wicked thick timber.
Yeah.
So we packed up camp and moved.
Yep. That's right. So we packed up camp and we moved to a different spot where I had another buck spotted that I was scouting. A really nice buck. And thought we'd go try and find him. And we took us all day to get over there because it was a long haul to get in that spot. We did get over there and set camp up, and we didn't see anything that night. Not a single deer that evening. Or did we? No, because it was the next day.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, let's give this spot one more day. So we glassed it the morning, and we stayed there all day, and we didn't see a single deer until like 5 minutes before dark.
Yeah.
We found a buck that was probably a mile away. Maybe not quite that far. It was a long ways though.
Yeah.
And we couldn't see horns on it. It was so dark, but we knew it was a buck. So we just kind of inventoried that for the next day. And then we got up the next day. It was our last day to hunt. It was Saturday. We didn't see anything. We glassed a while in the morning. We ended up running into a kid on the glassing knob we wanted to be on, so we went to a different spot. We went and we were looking in the exact same spot where we spotted the buck the night before, and we found a buck. I think it was the same buck. I do.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at the one the night before, so.
Yeah, well, we couldn't really see it super well, like antler size. We could tell it was like a grayed out body with some horns. Well, so this next morning when I found a buck bedded, only 150, 200 yards from where we spotted this buck last night.
Yeah.
And it was a grayed body buck, but it wasn't a huge buck. It was a 3x3. That was like decent, like probably 24 wide, so 23 wide, something like that. Like it was actually a pretty good buck.
Yeah, it was a nice deer.
And
I would have been psyched with him.
Yeah, Jamin decided, like, let's kill this deer. It's the last day. We watched him work though. He was kind of out bedded under this tree, but we knew as the sun came up that he was going to move.
Yeah, and it wasn't a good spot to stalk either.
No.
Probably would have definitely gotten spotted.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a good spot to stalk him. But he got up as soon as the sun hit him, which was probably like 10:30, 11. It had to have been because it was in a spot where the sun didn't hit it for a while.
Yeah, I think that's
on a
right.
west slope. And he got up. He made his way. How far did he go?
He went. So that buck went
crazy over here.
About, I don't know, 150 yards or so, and bedded back down again.
Yeah.
And
We
then
couldn't see him though.
yeah, which that really was a bummer. If we were able to see where he was bedded, I think it would have potentially changed the outcome by a lot.
I agree.
Yeah, so we decided, last day you got to try, like you have to.
Yeah.
So we hiked over there, got to about 100 yards of where I thought he was bedded, and Logan was behind me a little bit with the 7200 just filming over my shoulder, and just crept in. I couldn't, it's really hard to stay quiet in that stuff, especially this year. It's wicked dry, and it's already really rocky, so you combine super loud brush and grass and everything with the rocks, and it's really difficult to stay quiet. So just snuck super slow, moving, take a step, glass, take a step, glass, and I kept glassing up empty beds, and I'm like, one of these, he's gonna be in one of these, and moving my way across, and I come up to right where I think he's bedded, and I'm glassing. I spend a lot of time looking for him and just couldn't see him, and I keep moving forward, and where he was bedded was behind these three big trees. So when he was bedded down, I probably couldn't see him, or I just didn't look hard enough, and I kind of ended up getting past his bed a little bit, and he could probably see me then. And it was through some brush, so I didn't notice when he stood up. And Logan was right behind me, and not right behind me. He was up the hill.
Yeah, 20, 30 yards behind you.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing happen. And Buck just stood up, just kind of looked at me, and I was now at this point glassing in front of me because I had glassed over the buck, and I saw him take a couple steps, and I, trying to decide whether to put my binos down or what I was going to do, it kind of froze for a sec, and he gave me about half a second to see him standing there, and then he kind of took off. So
yeah,
that was a real bummer. But
it didn't. Yeah, he moved. He bumped out pretty quick once he saw what was going on.
Yep.
But we were close. Super close.
Yeah, it was. So you were about 50 or 60 yards from him, and I was well under 40 yards.
Yeah.
So if I had spotted him when he had stood up or when he was bedded, I probably could have shot another arrow. Shot an arrow at this buck, but
Yep.
That's how it goes.
Almost had him.
Yep.
So then we had to head home that day, but pretty much wrapped up the hunt. I do have time. I'm going up next, or I'm going to today actually. After I drop Jamin off, I'm gonna head up there, and I have a few more days to try and hunt. I'm gonna try and see if I can find stickers again and see if he's calmed down a little bit. If he's calmed down, and I can get, if he gives me a good opportunity, I'll go try and kill him. Otherwise, there's some other bucks we know about now that I'm gonna go try and shoot. So, but yeah, dude, great hunt. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Do you have any gear key takeaways from this hunt? Anything that you liked, that you tried out, something, or just something that really stood out? We'll talk about water situation after this.
Oh yeah.
Too.
I think so. So there's a couple things. So I usually, I was trying out a new pair of boots this year, and there's a couple small things that would be a little bit nicer about them for up there. It's really rough terrain and super rocky. It's all volcanic, rocks. It's super sharp. But I usually run a Zamberland, and they're a pretty tight toe box, and a pretty stiff boot, and I usually like that a lot, especially for elk hunting, or when I'm filming stuff like that, or the bear hunt.
Yeah.
But this year, running those pretty flexible boots that were I could feel way more beneath my feet.
Yeah.
And I think it really made a difference on the stalks. So
Oh,
that was
right.
kind of unique, like, or different for me. I guess not unique, but just something I haven't used before.
Yeah.
So I like those. Those worked really well.
Nice.
The tread kind of got ripped up
Yeah.
pretty quick in the week, but comfort-wise, they killed it.
Yeah, I like on early season hunts like this, I would way prefer to wear shoes, like hiking shoes, over boots because it's really hot. I mean, it's up to like 70, 80 degrees during the day. So in a boot, your foot just gets so sweaty. That, and it's just heavier. A boot's heavier, and the lighter you go on your feet, there's the less fatigue you have over time. And so if you can handle it, like hiking shoe all day, every day, until it's too cold to do it, that's kind of my philosophy. But everyone's different. Everyone has different feet and styles and preferences, and so it's okay. But
I did notice when you have a heavy pack, if you have a really flexible shoe, it'll be less comfortable over time.
yeah,
for myself.
and I don't notice that a ton.
Okay.
So I guess it just depends on how you train, what you do. I don't know what it is. It's just different preferences and feet and stuff. So that's cool. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Cool.
I think so.
So on hunts like this in the high country, one of the hardest things that you have to worry about is water, because there's not water everywhere. There's some springs every once in a while, but a lot of times the good waters in springs are down in these basins that you're trying to glass deer in.
Yeah.
And a lot of the basins we hunt have springs in the bottom of them, but we're never going to go down there unless we're on stock because we don't want to bump deer out. But by our camp, we do have a really good water source, like a small lake that's kind of runs down the hill. And so we're able to get water every day, but we have to walk down to camp and get it. That one of the issues is this lake it's not like the cleanest lake, it's just kind of just like a pond right there. And so there's a lot of algae and moss and stuff. And so every day we'd get water from it, and we were both using filters to, like, I was using a filter on my water bladder that you like squeeze and it filters it out, and then Jamin was using a Grail filter. Mm-hmm. So both of them are like filters with, you have to like push the water through it. But the problem was the water was so bad, like so full of like algae and stuff, it clogged up our filters fast.
Almost like the first day.
Instantly.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the trip they were so slow, and it took forever to filter water.
Yeah.
So I mean, any filter that you either pump it or squeeze it or whatever, it's going to clog up on that hunt pretty much. Unless maybe you have like some, like, I've seen some of the pump filters that have they have some layers of like mesh, and then like a thin layer of mesh, and then you have like your filter stuff, and it kind of like filters out some of that algae before it gets to your actual filter. That one might work decent. Something like that might last longer.
Yeah.
But either way.
Yeah. Or running, like you were mentioning, running your water through cheesecloth and then filtering it.
Yeah, that would help for sure. It would help, I'm sure. And so that was kind of a bummer on this hunt. So in the middle of this hunt, I ordered a SteriPen online because I was on a hunt the other day with Brian Call, and he's like, dude, use the SteriPen, and it like actually seemed awesome. So I ordered one. I'm going to use it this week and see how it goes. And then I've got like an old piece of cloth that I'm going to use so I don't have a bunch of algae and stuff in my water. So I'll put it over the bottle when I'm filling it up. That way I don't have to like drink all the algae. But I'll just fill up my bottle, use a SteriPen, and it'll be purified just like that. I don't have to worry about filtering it or clogging any filters. It's going to be, I hope, just faster and better.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to find out. The other thing too is the iodine drops.
Yeah, those
probably use that too. But.
Yeah, because and just to give you guys some context, like on our bear hunt, we didn't have any issues really having filters clog. but we were taking them out of like running streams and like clean water.
Yeah.
That wasn't full of algae and stuff.
Yeah.
It was spring water, so it wasn't like pure clean water because it's all the runoff water, but it still didn't clog our filters at all.
Dude, I continued using, like, so in that hunt I used the Grail, and I continued using that same filter throughout the rest of the spring back home turkey hunting, and no issues at all.
Yeah.
Like, no problem. But yeah, this hunt, I bought a brand new filter right before this hunt for the Grail, and
Clogged up.
it clogged up almost immediately.
Yeah. So just something to keep in mind. And now it's not going to happen all the time. It depends on where you're hunting and what your water source is. But water is important when you're in the backcountry like that. We did pack some like empty gallon jugs. So we were able to collect a bunch of water, bring it up to camp, and then we'd have water at camp for a day and a half, 2 days. We went through a lot of water because it's hot early season stuff.
Yeah. We went through a lot of water while still kind of being on a quota of water. Like, I didn't drink more than a gallon a day, I don't think.
Yeah. And normally, like, a gallon a day sounds like a lot, but when you're hiking around and sweating and hunting and it's hot outside, a gallon a day is not a lot. And then if you use water to rehydrate your food, if you have multiple meals or you want to do like coffee or whatever, like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of water.
Yeah. I mean, they say you should drink like a gallon of water a day no matter what.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, I was using a gallon a day, and that was for everything. So food,
Yeah.
cooking, drinking. So that was, and like last hunt too, I remember that, like that was a lot different than most hunts.
Yeah. And then I don't think we did pretty good other than that. We were pretty comfortable. The temperatures were pretty steady. It was pretty warm. Even at night it was warm, but slept pretty good. Using a lot of Wilderness Athlete. They're a sponsor of this hunt and film, but we also work with them on a consistent basis with a lot of stuff. So we had a bunch of product that we were using. So a lot of Hydrate and Recover mostly. I would say it was like the number one for sure.
That's my go-to.
Yeah, we were using Hydrate and Recover multiple times a day. I think I had like 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah.
Occasionally I would throw in one of the Energy and Focuses just if I was feeling tired and I needed some energy throughout the day. I like the Hero drink packets, but I only brought like 3 of them. But I drink them every once in a while, and I like those. So I actually felt pretty good after drinking those. And they taste good too.
Yeah.
And then I was using Unplug at night to help fall asleep. I think it works really good. Pack out bars. I had a few pack out bars. What else? Is there anything else that you had from Wilderness Athlete?
Yeah. So if I have the Unplug, I'll take it. I already take a lot of supplements, so I don't like adding more pills than I have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also have like just some food allergies, so there are certain things I can't have. But yeah, the Hydrate and Recover is by far my favorite. And what is it? The Arizona Peach. That one's a newer flavor, I think, and that one's super good.
That one's good. And then I like the sweet salted lime.
Yeah, you can have them all.
Yeah, that's okay.
No,
It's preferences.
Yeah,
it's preferences.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing I was thinking of with Wilderness Athlete. Oh yeah, the good stuff. It's like a little packet of pills. So it's got like fish oil pills, some vitamin pills. I don't remember what else is in there, but I would take a packet of those every day.
Potassium. I think it's potassium, magnesium, and fish oil.
Yeah, so it's good stuff for you.
Yeah.
That you should honestly be taking every day. But the problem is when you're out hunting and working so hard, you're deficient in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So making sure you're just caught up on things, and then eating healthy.
Yeah. And then not necessarily on the hunt, but at home I use what is it called? Their their green mix,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah.
their vegetable mix.
Yep.
So
I know what you're talking about.
I use that daily in the creatine.
Yep.
And I
Same.
feel I
Me
might
too.
not take it on the hunt, but it makes a huge difference for coming into a hunt about your water retention. Because you just don't, it's not like when you stop taking creatine for a week or two, you don't just like immediately lose all the benefits of it. You still retain that for a long time. So taking something like creatine, which essentially allows you to store more water,
Yeah.
is a really good way to prepare for any hunt, but especially for a hunt like this where you're going to be lacking water.
Yeah, I agree. And then our other sponsor on this hunt, we had two, is Onyx, which I work with Onyx a bunch. They sponsor the channel, and obviously we use Onyx like all the time on the mountain. We spot a deer, drop a pin. Like I personally on my Onyx, like basically anytime I spot something, I'm gonna drop a pin so I know it's there. Or if I come across a deer bed, I'm gonna drop a pin and take a picture of the deer bed. That because you just build up all this big bank of information over the years of hunting spots, and you just learn. You start to learn what type of country the deer live in and bed in, and oh, there's elk over here. Oh, there's like a lot of times the does live up in this spot, but the bucks are usually down in here. Here's the elevation band a lot of the bucks like to live at, and you build up all this information over time, and you just start to learn more about your area. So we're on Onyx all the time, every day, trying to see like, oh, maybe can we glass this other basin, or is there going to be deer in this spot? What's the best way to navigate over to this other ridge or glassing knob? And we're doing a bunch of that.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Yeah. And one of my favorites is if you have reception, you can use the 3D tool. And when you go into 3D mode, instead of just drawing, when you hold your two fingers on the screen to get you a line distance, when you're in 3D mode, it will follow the terrain and give you an even more accurate distance from one spot to another, which is one of my favorite things, because if you're just on 2D mode and you do that same thing,
it's a straight line.
Yeah, it's a straight line, and it might not give you quite what you're looking for. But when you go into the 3D, you can do that, and you can see, okay, I got to work through 1, 2, 3 ridges to get to where that deer's bedded, and it gives you it's way easier to figure out how to access or how to stalk into a deer or anything like that, which is one of my favorites for this hunt.
Yeah, that's huge. Sometimes I'll use the radius feature. So if I drop a pin on a buck, I'll put a radius on it of like 60 yards or something. That way, once I'm on the stalk, I can keep checking my phone, and if I'm within that radius, it's like, all right, I am within shot range right now of this buck bedded. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes there's no need because I know exactly where the buck's bedded if he's like under a tree or something, or it's open enough country. But that's a helpful tool to use.
I tried that on our last stalk there.
Yeah.
And I liked that quite a bit.
Yeah, it works pretty good. Just because like if you're like constantly checking the distance, it just takes more time. But if you have that pin dropped with the radius around it, you know when you're in the zone, right?
Yeah, that's not something that we would like back home for whitetail. I wouldn't probably use something like that as much.
Yeah.
But for out here, I was like, this makes total sense to use. So that was a new one for me.
Yeah, that worked pretty good. Other than that, that's kind of like the biggest things that we were working on. We shoot a bunch of content for them. What's your camera setup for this hunt?
Yeah, this year I picked up the Canon R5 Mark II this summer, and really excited to use that camera for a couple reasons. That camera does 120 slow-mo with audio, which is like, I feel like that's always been a crutch of Canon's, not having that.
Yeah.
So that was huge to have that. So filmed a bunch of stuff this hunt with that. And then also it has C-Log 2. And C-Log 2 for Canon cameras is like the movie Like normally you would think C-Log 3, you can C-Log 3 Rec 709 Cinema Gamut, and that is good, but C-Log 2 gets you about 2 to 3 more stops of dynamic range than C-Log 3. So that gets us just a little bit closer to what the human eye can see, which the closer I can get to that, the better for me. Like I want my footage to look like what I am looking at.
Yeah.
So that was a big one for me for this hunt. So, and then I also ran the Tascam Hot Shoe for the audio, which is an XLR mount, and on the Canon R5 II you can film in 24-bit 4-channel, which means you have, instead of just 2 channels of audio like the R5 does or the R6, you have 4 channels, which means you can have your main channel, a backup channel, and then 2 channels that are recording off of the in-camera mic. So you have effectively 3 backup channels of audio. So if you get any peaking or anything happens, you are like, there's no reason not to have audio at all times, which I think is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Because normally you just have 2 channels, and it comes into the 3.5 millimeter jack, which I think both of us run the Rode NTGs.
Yeah.
So you can do a high and a low channel, but if anything happens to your cord or to the mic or anything, you lose audio completely.
Right.
And the in-camera mic doesn't do anything. So I'm excited to see how that did this year with this footage.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be way cool. And then lens. You brought a bunch of lenses, or a handful of lenses.
I always bring a lot of lenses.
Tons of them.
Yeah, I brought, and I even left some in the car.
Yeah.
I always bring 15 to 35, the 70 to 200, and I have a 100 to 500 with a 1.4 adapter, and that's like my minimum. That will always be with me on every hunt, because I like that range, and I like the quality of image that I get from each of those lenses. I could probably leave the 15 to 35 at home if I was able to pick up like a 24 to 105, but for now, that's my kit. And I would say, if you want to film, or you are filming and you're worried about the weight, leave something else at home and bring the lenses, or just get better at carrying heavy stuff. Yeah.
It's worth it when you're there. You'll notice it though. It's heavy. Lenses are heavy.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like an extra 2 pounds at the end of the day isn't going to kill you.
No.
So,
yeah.
So when you start adding like the 2 to 600 lenses, or like the big lenses, then it's like, okay, that's a little much maybe.
Yeah.
But guys do that still, and I don't blame them for it, because you get good footage.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked the 1 to 500 this year. That was something I didn't have last year that I picked up earlier, like back in the spring.
Yeah.
And I think that will always be a constant. Some type of long telephoto like that.
Yeah.
We got some really cool footage this year of deer that we wouldn't have gotten if we didn't have a long lens like that.
Yep. So, and then I was trying just my regular setup. I was pretty light on my setup this year, because I knew Jamin was going to be there with some stuff. But I was just running the R5 in a cage with a Rode NTG mic, shotgun mic, and 24 to 105 f4, and then that was pretty much it for me. Which, honestly though, like 90% of the time, that's all I need. Because when I'm filming deer and stuff, I'm usually in the spotter, filming on my phone with the all-in.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm filming everything else, I'm just filming on my camera. So when I do go though, when I'm filming other hunts, I'll bring a couple other lenses, and I want to buy like a 7200 or something similar to that. But stuff's expensive, so
yeah,
working on it. But Yeah, that's kind of my setup there too. So we had plenty of firepower as far as cameras and lenses and stuff goes on this hunt. So we got a bunch of good footage. We're gonna put something pretty good together, hopefully. Like I said, I'm heading up today for a few days. I'll film everything, and then this hunt pretty much gets wrapped up this week. And I'm heading out next week on another hunt. So, do you want to say what's next for you on your season?
Yeah. I'll just do the next trip. So on my way to the airport, well, Logan's bringing me out to go to the airport and flying up to Alaska. So be up there with Hunter McWaters, and we're going to be filming some caribou. And this is a really unique hunt for me. This one that I'm going on next, because I'll have a tag. So
it's pretty cool.
If both the guys that I'm filming, if they fill their tags, then I'll be up to bat, and that is really exciting for me. Like that's
pretty cool.
That'll be a highlight of my fall for sure.
Yeah, that'll be sweet.
So, and then right after that, some of my family, two of my siblings are gonna fly up, and we're gonna go spend a week hanging out in Alaska. So the past 3 weeks, I mean, it'll be a full 3 weeks, but it should be a good time. So
yeah, that'll be cool. So that'll be a fun trip. A way fun trip. And then you got a bunch of stuff planned this fall too.
Yep.
So Jamin's gonna be all over the place, filming stuff and doing his own hunts.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yep. And then I'll be out with Kobe Owens next week. We'll be hunting deer, so we'll record a podcast with him. And so you guys will kind of hear how that hunt goes. It's a archery deer hunt as well. We both have tags, so that'll be exciting. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna wrap it up with that. That was a pretty good recap of the hunt. If you guys have any questions, drop them in. We'll make sure to answer them in the next episode. Jamin, thanks for coming on the podcast, chatting it up, going on this hunt with me.
Yeah, dude.
It was fun.
Thanks for the invite. And we learned so much. Like,
yeah, seriously.
It's gonna take me a while to like fully soak it all in, but a lot about hunting, I definitely learned a little bit about my personality when I have a tag in my pocket, how I feel, which has been not something I'm used to, because back home, whitetail hunting is a totally different world, yet so very similar.
Yeah.
And now being able to like do a mule deer hunt like this, I definitely feel like this hunt matured me a little bit when it comes to Western hunting. So that was cool.
Yeah, I agree, for sure. I learned a lot about deer on this hunt, but also just a lot about how hunting big deer with other people, because when you're trying to kill one specific big deer, it's hard to go hunt with buddies too, because sometimes a buck deserves a lot more attention to kill it than you have when you're trying to kill 2 deer. So
yeah,
interesting. Maybe we can talk about that another time, but it's a good hunt.
Yeah,
so
it was a ton of fun.
Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one.